Here, see one of you. Do you guys have tickets? Actual physical tickets? Okay, good.
Hi, I've got.
You want me to send?
We ask you to form a line? Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you guys
I would also like to thank all of the volunteers who have gone out block walking and clipboarding and taken time out of their day. To help Beto and to get his name out and all of the support that he's been getting. And I won't take any more of your time, so without further ado, let's introduce our next Texas Senator, Beto!
All right, Manuel Ariana, thank you. Mariachi Mineros, thank you as well. El Paso, how are we feeling? I feel the same way that you do right now. It has been so long since I've been back home here in my hometown, the city that Amy and I are raising Ulysses and Molly and Henry in, where they're going to the same amazing public schools. Let's hear it for Mesita and the Mustangs that I went to when I was growing up. Living just blocks from one of the greatest universities on the planet, the University of Texas at El Paso. At the most important time for us to be alive that I can think of. In the most important place that we could possibly be. In a country that has never been more divided, at least in our lifetimes, never more polarized, never more riven by the partisanship and the bitterness and the meanness, the politics of destruction. 242 years into this experiment, that we can freely choose those who would represent us and the course and the direction that this country would take under the very premise that all of us are created equal, and that within each of us our life, our liberty, our ability to pursue our happiness, as the question hangs over this country as to whether or not we're going to live up to our potential and to our promise. It is the people of Texas, being led by the people of El Paso, who have the answer. To the smallness and the meanness and the name-calling of this moment, we bring our courage, we bring our confidence, we bring our strength, we bring this big, bold, beautiful heart that can only come from Texas, that can only come from El Paso. We bring that as part of the campaign, organized, not against anyone else, not against another political party, not against anything. We are organized together, Republicans, Democrats, independents alike, for and by one another, and for the greatest country the world has ever known, the United States of America. And I love that more than a year and a half ago, right here in El Paso, we started this campaign to see if we could not answer those questions and help bring this divided country together. Since then, we have visited every single one of the 254 counties of Texas, showing up for everyone. of geography, of party, of who you voted for in the last election, of who you prayed to, or whether you pray at all, who you love, how many generations you can count yourself a Texan or an American, or whether you just got here yesterday. None of that stuff matters now. The differences will not divide us, nor will they keep us from doing the great work ahead. And I gotta tell you, a lot of people, for the first time in a long time, have allowed themselves to be hopeful again, to be optimistic, to be inspired by one another. And I count myself among you. I'm as inspired, as energized, as encouraged, as thrilled as I have ever been, not just about our prospects tomorrow night, but the prospects of this country, to make sure that we still have it, that our best, that our greatest days are still in front of us. And I've got to tell you this, the question was out there for us. Is this a campaign just about hope and about promise and about potential? Or can they turn it into action? To that, we present El Paso. Last midterm election. During early voting, the first 12 days of early voting in 2014, 4 years ago, 37,000 of us came out and voted. In 2018, that same time period, the first 12 days of early voting, 139,000 people have come out. You are literally turning this hope, this promise, this inspiration that we feel into action. You're turning it into votes. And if we keep this up tomorrow, we turn out at these same record numbers, and especially the youngest among us, voting amongst young people ages 18 to 29, get this, is up 500% from 2014. If we keep this up, then tomorrow night at the Chihuahuas ballpark, after every one of us has finished our block walking and phone banking shifts that end precisely at 7:01 Mountain Standard Time, we will be getting together to celebrate the victory of our lifetimes for this state, for this country, for this generation, and every generation to come. It's up to us. Everything that we have been talking about for the better part of 2 years. This state, this community especially, which bore witness to parents with their young children fleeing the deadliest countries on the face of the planet today, making a 2,000-mile journey on foot atop a train known as the Beast or La Bestia, and if they survive, coming here to the front door of a country comprised of asylum seekers and refugees and immigrants the world over. Whether they came to the harbor in New York and saw the Statue of Liberty, whether they first set foot in Chihuahuita or Segundo Barrio, that is who we are as a country. But for those who did what any human being would do, and what Amy and I have told ourselves we would do, if it was the only way to save our kids' lives, instead of finding the safety, the shelter, the asylum, the refuge that they sought here, we bore witness to the fact that they found their worst nightmare. That child taken from, by force if necessary, the arms of that mother or that father who literally risked their lives to bring them here to this country, trying to follow our asylum laws. That parent turned over to the custody of the Department of Justice, prosecuted like a common criminal for being nothing more than a human being and doing what any human being would do. Deported back to the very country from which they fled. Everyone who came out to Tornillo on that first weekend after the executive order was issued to bear witness, to testify to our fellow Americans, that was the power that we spoke to those in the highest offices in the land, and temporarily, we got them to desist from this inhumane and cruel policy. Now up to us to finish the job and to make sure that never again in this country is another child taken from their parents at their most desperate or vulnerable moment. All those still kept in Tornillo or in foster care homes all over this country, knowing not when or even if they will see that mother or that father again. We together will insist that they be reunited at once, and we will make this country and the people of the future who will succeed us, the people of 2018, proud, because we will take the lead in rewriting this country's immigration laws in our own image, to reflect our communities like this one here in El Paso, to look like our families, to make sure that policy is rooted not in fear, not in anxiety, not in paranoia, not in lies, but in our real experiences in our families, making sure that, for example, no dreamer, numbering more than 1 million strong in this country, ever has to fear deportation because we made them citizens here in their country of choice. A country that they are making great by their very presence. I get to tell my colleagues in the House, and I look forward to telling them in the Senate, that as El Paso is one of, if not the safest cities in the United States of America, not in spite of, but in large part because of the fact that we are a city of immigrants, that those who left their homes and their families, their country, their language, their culture, their comfort, to start again here, strangers in a strange land, their very presence makes us stronger, makes us more secure, makes us more successful. They came here to do better for themselves and their kids, but they also came here to do better for all of us. Called to and inspired by the United States of America, wanting to contribute to and not take from the American dream. Podemos compartir. Si queremos asegurar nuestras comunidades, no necesitamos muros, no necesitamos mandar el ejército, necesitamos tratar cada persona con respeto y con dignidad, como merecen como humanos. Así hacemos. When it comes to healthcare, this, a state that ranks dead last in the ability to see a doctor, to take your child to a therapist, to ensure that those pre-existing conditions are still protected going forward. A state where the largest provider of mental health care services today is the county jail system in the state of Texas. Folks with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, uninsured, unable to see a provider, who get arrested on purpose. Imagine how bad things would have to be for you to get arrested on purpose, to be taken to the one place where by law, we feed you, we clothe you, we house you, we prescribe the medications that keep you alive, and if you're lucky, you see a social worker, a therapist, a psychiatrist, or psychologist who keeps you going for another day. What if this were the same state that together, Republicans, Democrats, independents alike, stood together to ensure that we lead the way on guaranteed, high-quality, universal health care for every child, for every woman, for every man, every single one of us living to our full potential. Making sure that that's primary health care, mental health care, specialty health care, and in a state at the epicenter of a maternal mortality crisis, 3 times as deadly for women of color, universal health care also means every woman makes her own decisions about her own body and has access to the care to get it done. We can do that as well. We can make sure that this proud community of public school educators, teachers in the classroom, counselors, therapists, librarians, cafeteria workers, those who drive the kids home at the end of the day, and those who stay behind to clean up after everyone who's gone. Working 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to make ends meet, forced too often to teach to a high-stakes, high-pressure, standardized test that in no way effectively measures their performance in the classroom or the prospects of that child before them. I want to make sure that in the same way that those public school educators have been there for each and every single one of us, that now, when we have the opportunity, that we are there for them as well, insisting that each teacher, each public school educator be paid a living wage so they have just one job, connecting with that child, bringing her to her full potential, ensuring she can do everything that she was intended to do in her life. We can lead on that as well. Whatever the challenge before us, whatever the opportunity, immigration, healthcare, education, making sure that every single veteran who comes back from having borne the battle, who put their life on the line for the United States of America, waits not a day to see a mental health care provider in a country that loses 20 veterans a day. There should be no wait. No wait to have a roof over your head, to get that post 9/11 GI Bill that you earned, to come here to UTEP, to better yourself, so you can do better for yourself, for your family, for your country. Once again, we should spare no expense. We should bear every burden for anyone who is willing to serve this country. And in those countries where we are still at war, in our 18th year in Afghanistan, in our 27th year in Iraq, but also in Syria, also in Somalia, also in Libya, also in Yemen, also in Niger. This, the world's greatest democracy, within which we have what is purported to be its greatest deliberative body, should be able to ask these questions. What is victory in these wars? What is our strategy to achieve it? And why do we fight? Why do we ask you to risk your life? Why do we ask you to take the lives of others in the name of this country? If we can answer those questions to our satisfaction, then let us prosecute these wars with all that we have and win them. But if we're unwilling to answer the questions, or even ask them in the first place, then let's not get into another war, and let's end the wars that we are already in, and bring those service members back home to this community, to their families, to this country. We can lead on this as well. Gotta tell you, I am more hopeful than I have ever been. And it is because of this community. This is the community in which I was raised. It's the community in which we're raising our kids right now. This is the community of which I am so fiercely proud. What we are doing right now, what we represent for the future of the country. This moment that we are seizing together, again, not as Democrats, not as Republicans, but as Americans, as Texans, as human beings, as El Pasoans. I don't know how to put this into words, and Amy and I were emotional as we were driving over here tonight. This is the last day before votes are cast tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We have been on the road for nearly 22 months straight. And to be able to come back and be here with our family, with our friends, with everyone who's given us the opportunities that we've been able to enjoy in our lifetime, it transcends my ability to describe it. I just want you to know that El Paso, I love you more than I can say. I am more grateful than I could ever express. I am so proud of what you're making happen right now. And if each of us gives these next 24 hours everything that we've got, if we remind every single person in our life that they've got to vote tomorrow 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., if you send them to our website, betofortexas.com, to make sure that they look up their polling location in case they have any questions. If you're willing to take a shift, knocking on doors tomorrow, making phone calls as one of our phone banks, I guarantee if we continue to do this, we are going to be celebrating tomorrow at the Chihuahuas ballpark a victory for this state, for this country, this generation, and every generation that follows. You all ready to win?